Yo, what up? It's Brendan.
I'm Brandon.
And this is
the Brews and Bros Podcast. Can you pass me the mic?
Passing the mic. Josh.
All right, everybody. We're back from hiatus. And the Queen died? That might be a coincidence.
I think not.
Welcome back, everybody. I know it's been a long time. I actually was looking the last time. So last time Ryan and I recorded a podcast.
The sport ball one?
The sport one was back in January. Our last podcast episode was in December.
We had Riley Reid on there.
Yeah, we have one dislike. Someone was probably fucking duped. And they were like, how dare you?
Did they leave a comment?
No.
Well, no, and the other thing, I think we were talking about men's mental health, and then all of a sudden...
Well, and that's what I'm saying. So I'm sure some fucking, like...
Chattanooga.
Somebody was like, I don't want to get caught looking up Riley Reid, so I'm going to look Riley Reid up on YouTube. The podcast episode pops up, and they're like, wait a minute.
Riley Reid gonna get tagged in this one again.
So, what's funny about that is I've thought about that. Like, I shit you not, like in the tags, like just tagging a bunch of random porn stars.
I told my cousin about that.
About tagging...
No, I was like, yeah, we got a lot of people viewing this video because we put Riley Reid's name in the little title sequence. And he was like, stop.
Well, and what's funny is, you know, obviously, like, as you tag videos and stuff, like, you gotta, like... Think about, like, kind of what the pod... Like, or whatever, like, what the video's about. Because, you know, you might not be able to, like, search just, like, a channel name that is, like, a small-time thing and find them. So, you know, you use tags or whatever. Or you think to yourself, well, I don't really want to, like... I don't know, like... any creators that make videos like this, I'll just type this word into YouTube. So, like I said, some child, some fucking nerd, who's like, I don't want to get caught on the family computer looking this up.
No, and then we, and with this one, we open it with the Queen dying, so we can abuse that for some revenue.
Oh, dude, 100%. Hashtag royal family. Hashtag rip
the
bozo.
monarchy. Yeah, rest in peace, bozo. I put that in the news comments, and somebody responded to it because I saw Angry react. But I was like, I can't see who responded because they blocked me so they could have their whatever and say whatever they wanted to and not have to deal with the repercussions of the heat. All because I said rest in peace, bozo. Like, how you gonna stand up for it? Like, was the Queen your best friend? She was fucking racist.
Maybe she was that person's best friend. I don't know how any of that works.
She all freaked out. She's like, my grandbaby might have part black in her.
Well, so I kind of just forgot what I was going to talk about. Oh, so because I went to the gym. When was that? Yesterday. Mm-hmm. So I go to the gym yesterday morning. Or not yesterday, the day before.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm, like, walking around, and I, like, just happened to glance up at one of the TVs because, you know, they have the news on.
Right.
And I was like, what? And I was like, all right, whatever. So I was like, well, I'm wondering if she died because I didn't, like, read the headline. And so I looked it up, and I was like, well, I don't see anything, but whatever. And so I was talking to Stephanie about it, and I was like, and it was just this weird view of, like, the outside of Buckingham Palace. And I was like, that looks fucking weird. Like, you can't see anything. Like, you're not going to see her fucking die.
You're not going to see her... I saw that they put a picture of Buckingham Palace after she died, but they put the Spirit Halloween on.
I saw that one too, yeah.
No, but it's like... Well, obviously, it's a historical event, like, right on, but at the same time, it's not like she was a good person.
I don't know. I don't care. Like, it's... Like, the memes were funny. And I was thinking about it yesterday when I was at work, and I was like, you know, I think, like, after tomorrow, like, I just don't care. Like, there's still some funny ones that I've been seeing, but now it's kind of like...
The gulag?
That shit had me rolling, dude. Holy shit. I wasn't expecting it at all because I'd kind of forgotten about it for like 10 minutes. And then all of a sudden I'm on Instagram watching people's stories and I go, dude, oh my lord.
Well, like the most American thing ever because football just started back up.
That lady on NBC?
Oh, no, I was going to say, because the Rams game, so my cousin puts it on at the store because I had to watch it for a bit. And so the game's on and they're like, let's have a moment of silence for the Queen. And no one was quiet. Everyone was still going about their business. And I was like, that's the most American thing ever.
Well, and so what's funny is the lady on NBC, so it's like the pregame. So I think they do like their like little spiel about it being like, oh yeah, you know, Queen Elizabeth passed away, blah, blah, blah. And then so there's like this weird kind of like awkward moment of silence. And she goes, but back here at home, we've been waiting for it. And then everyone starts cheering around her because she's about to start talking about the game. But everybody was like, you couldn't have worded that like just a tad bit better.
She's dead, but we've been waiting for it. Whoa, football.
And so it was super funny, but...
It's okay. Tomorrow's our little day of mourning.
Mourning? What are you talking about?
Tomorrow is the 11th of September.
Oh, dude, I've been seeing people talk about that. Like, oh, you guys aren't ready for all the memes that we're about to post. And people are like, dude, no one fucking cares.
We post those memes.
Like, we post those memes throughout the year.
Fucking, now you know what it feels like. Get bent, brother. Fuck you. Fuck Buckingham. Fuck the Queen. Fuck the tostadas. Fuck Domino.
Dude, could you imagine, like, just, like, talking shit about, like, the royal family and the Queen, then all of a sudden, like, you get a knock on your door, and it's some fucking British guy, and it's like, you heard you was talking a little smack. You think it's a joke, isn't it? You think you're real fucking funny? You fucking think this is a joke?
Yeah, I got dizzy in the algebra.
Yeah, and you're like, dude, shut up. Get out of here. But I don't know, like I said, I think for me that now that it's been a couple of days, like I think that the world's just gonna kind of move on, and then whenever they do her little ceremony thing, when she's, you know, having their funeral or whatever, I'm sure it'll be all over the place. But grand scheme of things, I don't care. Never did, never will, never have.
So I thought they were doing her funeral on TV because my cousin Chop, the downstairs one. They just put YouTube on to like do whatever. So I thought it was a funeral, but it was like, obviously I have YouTube Premium, so I don't see the ads.
Yeah.
But it was an ad, and it was a whole it was a church sermon, like a 2-hour long ad. And I said, oh, no, whoa. So I hit the skip button, and then video keeps going, and another ad comes up, 30-minute long ad. And it's these people doing Q&A on pregnancies, and I said, "What the heck is it, Skip?"
Dude, so it's funny. So having YouTube Premium, it's the I swear to Christ, it's the biggest blessing of all time, because like I've seen memes about this one particular ad that constantly pops up, and I'm like, dude, I have no idea what the fuck they're talking about because I haven't watched an ad on YouTube in like a year. But I remember, like, right before I decided, I think it was, like, right before I decided to, like, finally just, like, pull the trigger and just get YouTube Premium, there was an ad that I'd seen in the last 6 or 7 videos that I had seen. But it was one of those, like, 10, 15 second, like, ads that you can't skip, but they make you watch. And it was just, I forget exactly what it was, but I remember just thinking to myself, I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I was like, I am not sitting here watching another fucking ad. I was like, I can't do it.
They held a gun to your head and said, "Get Premium, bitch."
Well, and the other thing is that they would also, what they would do is it was worse on Crunchyroll than it ever was on YouTube, but they would always, what's it called? They would always, like, it was like 30-minute ads. Where it'd be like an episode of something. Or it would be like, I had one ad, it was a music video.
Yeah, I don't get it.
And so, they kept popping up, this random music video just kept popping up and popping up and popping up, and I was like... So I ended up, like, doing a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
And this random song just kept playing in the background. And what's crazy is the song was pretty fucking good.
But at the same time, it's like, wait, because it gets you because you're like, oh, it's an ad. But then at some point, you're like, if you're in the background, you go, why is this ad so? What the? And you just
and so it's this odd thing where
I'm putting ads on every 5 minutes of this podcast on the YouTube version is going to get an ad. No, I'm kidding.
And that's the thing. I was like, I don't get it, dude. Like, I don't understand, and I never have understood why ads, like, or my least favorite kind of ad was where it was like they would ask you a question, or it would be like one of those things where they're like trying to sell you something, and they're like, hey, like, are you like a lazy piece of shit who like can't get out of bed in the morning? Like, check out my program, and in this program, you're gonna learn how to not be a lazy piece of shit. And then it like kind of like fades to black, and it's no shit. It's like watching an infomercial that's on at like 3 a.m. That's something that would just be on repeat.
Yeah.
For 6 or 7 hours.
And I'm just so the ads really get me with that, especially like you said. But the other one is when it's a 2-parter. It says 1 of 2.
Oh, dude.
And you're like, oh.
And my favorite one was, I think, right before I switched. I wasn't able to skip the first ad.
Yeah.
But I was able to skip the second ad.
Uh-huh. Or sometimes it's like skip, and you just get both. You get lucky. And that was a few times, but I remember because I lost my premium for like a week once. And that, like, because how much I watch YouTube,
dude, it's miserable.
I was like, how can you do
like trying to watch it out in the living room on an account that doesn't have it, or like, you know, you go to someone's house and you're just like, oh, hey, check out this YouTube video, and then like, you gotta watch an ad, and you're like,
ad at the beginning, ad at a quarter of the way, and ad at the end, ad in the beginning, and you're like, or middle, and you're like, no.
It's so funny, like it normally happens on the desktop version of YouTube, and not so much on like Xbox or on a TV or whatever, but like you could see where ads were placed. Sometimes, you know, we watch like longer videos. You know, you watch like a 45-minute, hour-long video, and it like, and you look at the little thing, and it's almost like every like what looks to be like every 10 seconds or every 2 minutes, there's an ad.
And I get it because ads always have their place, you know, like monetary wise and everything, and just kind of exposure for companies. But there's the only time that I don't get as irritated with ads, obviously when you're watching like cable television, because I know, hey, they're going to have ads.
Yeah.
But there's a weird sense of wonderment I get that it started Thursday night when football season starts, and then the football type ads start playing. And it just is like fall.
So football type ads, you get 1 week. I'm not even kidding. So after tomorrow, I shit you not, I fucking despise football ads. Ugh. So it got to that point where that Baker Mayfield one with Progressive, a couple of them were pretty funny, and they were kind of funny for a little bit, but then after a while, I was like, dude, I don't fucking care that Baker is sponsored by Progressive anymore. Like, I don't care. And now it's annoying. And I think it's one of those things where, like, the more you're exposed to something that is funny, like, the less funny it gets.
Of course.
And so it's like this weird dynamic where it's like, I don't think it's funny anymore. And at this point, I actually think it's like super cringe, and I think it's really annoying because it was like that when we were watching the Stanley Cup Finals. Yeah. Because, you know, having Hulu, you don't get like a diverse range of ads. Right. You get like the same 12 ads for a 4-hour hockey game. And you're like, oh my God, this is miserable. And to make matters worse, on Hulu at least, the ads are so goddamn loud. Yep. And you're like having to turn the TV down and then turn it back up and then turn it down. And it can get kind of annoying because I remember when we would watch football games on Hulu, it was like that. And it sucks with football because there are so many more like TV timeouts. Yeah.
And so the ads just keep on rolling. No, like, so there was... trying to remember, it was something with the ads. Oh, no, there it goes. I forgot. It's just welcome to my life. I had the whole thought. And no, okay, so it's because we talked about Baker Mayfield, because it wasn't about the ad specifically, but it was because, like, how can I put it? This is kind of like a double thing. Of course, like, the more you hear something, the less funny it gets. However, there are certain instances where I think certain things are just super funny. And they become inside jokes, kind of like how we have some of them, like the I'm murdering you.
Oh, dude.
That video, but that's what it brings me to. Is I saw a video on TikTok today, and it was the guy, and he was like, "This is how all the different NFL teams would order a drink at the bar."
Oh, I saw that one. Yeah,
with the Browns. Hey, buddy, no. Come back in here after November. For those of you who don't know, the quarterback of the Browns has been suspended for a while due to some allegedly mischievous deeds.
Get out here, you rapist!
He paid for it. Is it?
Well, dude,
it was a massage, but I don't know.
Look,
I wasn't there.
I don't
know.
I'm not touching it. It's one of those things where, dude, I just don't get it.
How many?
30? Dude, like fucking, like some crazy amount, like some obscene amount that it's like, dude, it's too high of a number. Like it's almost too high of a number to be like, okay, gotcha.
11 games suspended.
But it's almost so high of a number that you can kind of look at it and be like, dude, come on, man. Like, there's no way. Like, I could get, like, onesies and twosies, like, okay, like, nah, maybe.
You pay for a special massage once or twice, but 40?
But, like...
Or however many?
But, like, 10 plus. I'd go as low as, like, 10 plus.
I'd be like, hey, man, what's going on?
They'd be like, hey, maybe you're not as good of a guy as you think you are.
But that's all hearsay and another...
That's a whole other bag of chips, dude.
Like I said, I don't like rapists, but I also don't know the situation, because... I don't know, like, if he did rape or if it was, like, he paid sex workers?
I have no idea. I think it's one of those things, it's, like, it's almost convoluted on purpose. Yeah. But the NFL's really good at that, too. About
not letting you know what's going on, like, the real... There's a guy we work with, and that's what he asks everybody. Mm-hmm. He doesn't ask you how you're doing, he says, what's really going on? And I'm like, yeah! And I'm like,
Dude, I remember for the longest time... I used to, when someone would be like, hey, how's it going? I'd be like, oh, living the dream. And it was just like almost like muscle memory. Like, I would just, like, spew it out, and it was like, it was whatever. On my second deployment, I was sitting at a desk somewhere doing something. And this guy walks in, and I was like, hey, how are you? And he's like, oh, I'm not too bad. How are you? And I was like, oh, just living the dream. And he goes, huh. Yours or somebody else's? And then he just walked off. And I remember sitting at this desk, and I was like, what the fuck does that mean?
You're in
I get it.
He tried to wake you up, B.
Like, I get it. But, like, dude, it's 7:30 in the morning. I don't have the kind of mental capacity to, like, process what you just fucking said. That's the dumbest thing I've ever... Like, I was, like, so confused. Like, even right now, thinking about it, I'm so fucking baffled. Like, how do you answer that?
We had this Chinese food thing at work the other week or whatever, and they had fortune cookies. Mm-hmm. And my coworker, Matt, I gave him his, and I got mine. And his said, your biggest dream will come true. And he's like, what? And I look at my cookie, and mine says, like, you're going to... run into wealth, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And he goes, well, I like your fortune better. And I said, really? But yours is that your wildest dream will come true. And I was like, what? Dream bigger, bitch. Like, what the fuck you mean? Like, what kind of small-ass aspirations do you be having? Like, you'd rather have you'll be wealthy as opposed to your biggest dream.
I don't know, man. Fortune cookies, I feel like that stuff is just, like, really coincidental.
No, it is. It's just, write something encouraging.
So we'll go into something that I never thought in a million years that I would ever have done in my life. Oh, I don't know if you know what tarot cards are.
I do, yeah.
So, for those of you who are listening who don't know what a tarot card is, it's kind of like a way to not tell fortunes, but kind of tell fortunes in a weird way. But they use these cards, and the cards have different meanings, blah, 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 whatever. A couple years ago, I was dating this girl, and we got invited to this, like, dinner thing, and the lady who ran it was, like, super big into tarot cards. So was the girl that I was dating.
Right.
And so she was like, I think you should do one, see, like, what's up. Like, I think you should do a reading. Like, I think it'd be really interesting. because I'm gonna do one, but like I think you should do one, because she goes, have you ever done one? And I go, no, why the fuck would I do that? Like, I don't believe in that shit. And she goes, well, I mean, that's okay, but like, you know, sometimes like they're really spot on. And I go, well, that could just be, you know, like you could just be thinking that it's gonna be spot on,
right?
And so like in your head, like you're thinking, oh wow, like this random event is going on in my life, even though it might not, but whatever. So I do it. And I don't remember the exact situation, but like, you know, as coincidence would hold, there's a lot of things that were going on in my life that these cards were like, you know, hey, like this is going on here and that's going on there. And I remember thinking to myself, I was like, okay. And the girl that I was dating was like, oh my god, like, that's so crazy. Like, what do you think that one means? And like, what do you think that's just gonna happen when this, like, what do you think that might be? And I'm like, dude, I don't know. Like, I was like, who cares? Like, it has no bearing on my life. Like, I'm not gonna get a card reading and be like, oh my god, that's it. Everything's finally clicked. I need to change my life.
This card says I'm gonna have a double cheeseburger.
And dude, and it's just, I don't know. I think things like that, and I think things like, and it's one of those other things where the more you expose yourself to it, the more you tend to be like, nah, that's true. Kind of like with people with like astrology signs. I think it's all in the same bag.
Hashtag basic human trait. Hashtag so me.
And I think it's so funny. One thing I always think is kind of cringe, and I might get a lot of hate for this, but I think it's when like men are like invested in it, where they're like, oh yeah, you fucked with a Sagittarius? Yeah, you're dumb.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Where it's like, how did you get into that? Like, what female entered your life and convinced you like that was like a fact?
Well, I don't get like on Facebook, like they'll just be like, these are the people who don't put up with shit, and they'll just put random signs. And I'm like, I could do that too, and put other signs, and then they'll share it and say, "That's right,"
or like
that's me.
Or when it's like top 15 worst coworkers, and it's like the most random list of names that you could fucking possibly imagine.
I'm gonna make a list. Here are the 12 worst zodiac signs. Aren't there only 12? Fuck yeah. They all suck.
Well, and it's like, if that's your thing, like that's your thing, you know, who cares? But like, come on, man, like you really can't sit here and expect for people to be like, oh, I'm not gonna date you because of this, that, or the other thing.
Hit them with the, like, especially like, what's your zodiac sign? Oh, I'm gonna hit them with the, mine is vanilla ice.
I saw a TikTok where the guy was just like, hey, what's your sign? And they'd fucking just like, whatever, like it was like 6 or 7 different random ones. Mm-hmm. And every single time he was like, yeah, we won't work. And then he would just walk off. Or he'd be like, nah, get away from me. And like, dude, the look on their faces was just like, what? Like, how could you do that to me? And it's like, dude, and I saw there was this girl I was talking to about, so, For those of you who don't know, most of the time I have a beard. Every once in a while, at least recently, I have had this fucked up misfortune where I'd either trim the wrong part of my face or whatever, and I'd end up with a mustache.
It's a good looking mustache, though.
And for the most part, it's whatever. But I was talking to this girl, and she goes, "Can I ask you something that's kind of shallow?" And I go, "Sure." And she goes, well, when are you going to grow the beard back? And I said, I don't know, like, it's in the process. Like, it could take a week. It could take a little bit longer. I was like, it just kind of depends. And I go, why? And I was like, why do you think that's shallow? And she goes, well, like, this is what my ex looked like. This is the guy that I'm, this is one of the other guys that I had seen. Like, this is what he looks like. And so I was like, oh, okay. And they kind of looked more or less the same. Random white guy with a beard. And I was like, I don't think it's shallow. I think it's just a preference. But I was like, but, to caveat that, I was like, I think everybody and their grandma is shallow to an extent.
Yeah.
Like, there's just certain things that, like, you want to have in a partner. Like, you know, and I was like, and it's totally fine. I was like, but I think what isn't fine is people not acknowledging that they are shallow in reality, because like people are like, well, I'm not shallow,
Yeah, you
But
are.
like they're the most shallow person that you know.
I'm not judgmental. Shut
The most judgmental person you have ever met in your life.
Bunch of scumbags.
Has told you at least 17 times.
I don't see color. Yes, you fucking do. You stop at the red light, don't you? You dumb bitch. Who are you talking to?
Dude, and it's just I don't know, man. I think the human condition is odd. There's just too much shit going on.
I think COVID didn't do its job well enough. Too many people made it out.
I think
The Queen survived COVID and then got
that's a
taken
good
out.
point. She couldn't survive football season.
Sue, we're going to the Super Bowl!
Bro.
Yeah!
Bro, she saw that the Rams and the Bills was playing and she just said, that's too powerful for you, boy. Ugh.
She said, that's too much red, white, and blue.
She said it's taking place where? L.A.?
She said, check this out, America. Ugh. And America said, oh no.
Anyway. Dude, a whole fist straight up. Dude, Katie King's house burned down.
Well, no, even watching Charles get all that stuff going, they don't look too beat up over it. The royal family's like...
Well, and I think it's probably one of those things where...
They were just waiting.
They, like, what are you going to do? Like, you just have to wait.
Oh my.
But wait for what? Like, they're all crusty. They're all fucking old, dusty motherfuckers. They've all been fucking ruling in some form or capacity since fucking, the fucking 7th century.
Did you send me that video? And it's like Adolf Hitler in hell?
Yeah, from the boys.
And then...
William? What a surprise.
Princess Diana's getting that fucking smackdown.
But
now.
dude, a lot of fucking Twitter's going crazy, and it's almost gotten to be it's like this weird cesspool. But granted, Twitter is already a cesspool, but
well, I get, and I like how we got back to the Queen dying. That's just fun. But someone had said something about it because they were like, "Listen, y'all, like I don't get it. Like y'all act like you personally knew this broad."
I think I saw that too, where it's like. And that brings it back to my thing with like celebrity deaths in general. Like I get it. You might have someone who you looked up to or someone who was pivotal in your life, but you didn't know the person.
No.
So why are you butthurt that they fucking died?
I mean, yeah, it's like sad, but this one is really weird because it's like everything I ever heard. It's like not a good person, but because she was the queen, I have to care.
I don't know. I think just I just think the whole thing is odd in terms of and either side. Like, I mean, sure, who cares? But
I bleed red, white, and blue. All right, we kicked their pansy asses in 1776, so I have to worry about that stupid queen.
And I think that's the other funny thing too is that you really don't have to worry. Like, neither of us are sitting... Like, no one in this country has to worry about, like, oh my god, who's going to take over now? Well, I mean, you kind of do with the presidential elections and stuff like that, but, like, in the grand scheme of things, it's not like she had any political power.
I was going to say, they don't have any political... They're just
figureheads.
Yeah, because, like, we'd have to be worried more about that... Who... I don't know. I don't pay attention to their politics. I'm too worried about what fucking Creepy Joe's doing. Between him and fucking Trump over there, it's like, I'm fucked. Brendan, you don't like either of them? We've told you, this is not a political podcast. We don't like anybody.
We don't like anybody.
I don't even like myself sometimes. How you like them apples?
Sometimes it'd be like that. Sometimes it'd be like that.
How do you like them apples?
But, I mean, I don't know, man. It's just... fuck, I don't even know what to talk about anymore.
We're having a good time. I'm giggling. I was thinking about it. I was like, it's been a while. This feels good. It feels right.
I feel like there was something I wanted to talk about, but I don't quite remember what it was.
I feel like we've entered the condom of life, and we've hit the cooter of existence.
All right, I'm not touching that. Anyway, here's your ad for the week. But no, and I think it's just... I just don't understand why certain humans... Like, the Queen shit, dude. The Queen shits. She's not fucking special because she... had a certain fucking bloodline of a bunch of fucking incestuous fucks that dated back to fucking 1401.
I got some bad news though, B.
What?
She doesn't shit no more.
Yeah, because she fucking shit it all out on Thursday.
She
took the last shit, dude.
That episode of South Park where he's making a bet with Kyle because the Walmarts are taking over, that like when you die, your bowels evacuate, and so the exec jumps out the window and hangs himself, and as he hangs himself, you just hear, and then Cartman goes, "Aha! I told you, you owe me $5." Sorry, that's just what that made me think.
And it's just like, so I remember in boot camp, you do a couple inspections. But the last big one, I think, is the battalion commander's inspection. So you have, like, a lieutenant colonel come out, and he doesn't, like, inspect everybody, because it would take fucking forever. Because, you know, in summer, like, the platoons are, like, 80-plus people.
Right.
And you have 6 of them to go through. And inspections can kind of take a long time. So he would go through, and he would, you know, look at your uniform, ask you a couple, you know, knowledge questions, whatever. But one of the drill instructors was telling us, he was like, dude, like, you guys can't be nervous. Like, he's just a guy. Like, he's obviously, like, he is a lieutenant colonel, and, you know, like, he's an officer, and he, like, runs a battalion, but, like, at the end of the day, like, he's just a dude who puts his pants on the exact same fucking way that you do. So there's nothing to be fucking nervous about. Like, if you fuck up, you fuck up, but, like...
Yeah.
And I feel like that's how it is, like, and it's funny that I'm saying this because I've had, like, interactions with, like, famous people where, you know, you kind of, like, start stumbling over your words.
Because it's like,
and you're kind of starstruck. But at the end of the day, they take shits, dude. And I think that's one funny way to, like, imagine people. And that's how I always kind of, like, look at, like, newscasters to be like, I bet that person just takes, like, the nastiest fucking office shits. And, like, it's just gross. Like, I wonder if that guy's gross in the bathroom. I wonder if she's, like, really nasty.
I hope you're ready for me to bring this full circle with that.
No.
Riley Reid shit.
Dude! Bro. So, as adults, and as people who've, you know, experienced internet, there's, you know...
I know where this is going, huh?
There's... I kind of fucking forgot the goddamn baby.
I thought you was gonna go that they be pooping in the porno and like rolling.
No. So that does exist. That does exist.
That's where I thought you were going with
so that. Does exist.
Oh, no. Cleveland Steamer.
I remember now. Okay.
Oh, see, there we go. We jolted.
What happens is a lot of certain female porn stars are, you know, more versed in backdoor filming. Let's just say, you know.
Oh.
And there's one in particular. Her name is Bonnie Rotten. And, you know, every once in a while you go read the comments on these websites because sometimes they're funny. You know, everybody's seen the memes where it's like people are like asking for advice on like RuneScape or, you know, hey man, I just killed the last dragon in Skyrim. What do I do now? Shit like that. Every once in a while, people take them shits like people will take these videos like super serious, and I think it's one of the funniest things in the world because like they're like it's like they're talking to somebody who's gonna like read that comment and be like. Yeah, man, you know what? You're right. Well, I've seen a lot of people talk about like, dude, like these people who like just do backdoor filming exclusively, like, are gonna like lose function of their sphincter because it's just getting stretched out so much, and they're eventually gonna need to wear diapers.
Oh no! Is that like a real thing?
I have no idea. I have not looked into it one bit, but I can only imagine.
Like the most I've seen is I go on that cesspool Reddit sometimes, and I actually read these weird forums, and then every once in a while, when you get through it, you'll find like those things where they're like, "Hey, like I'm so and so. This is like my issue with my relationship that's happening," and some of them, as you're going through them, they start getting real weird. So this one's not really porn related, but it was this guy was like, I'm 19, I'm dating a 45-year-old, blah blah, but I feel like her kids don't respect me as their like stepfather figure because they're 23 and 26, and he's asking for advice.
Hey man, how do I make these grown men respect me as their dad?
How can I reach these kids?
And that's it's so fucking bananas because like. That shit happens in the military, for instance, all the time. Like, you'll get guys who, like, join the military, but, like, they join the military, like, 6 years after they graduated high school. So they're, like, 23, 24. I had a guy who's, like, a really good friend of mine. When he got to our unit, he was 25. And, like, that's, like, dude, if you're 25, like, in real life, like, that's pretty young.
But in the military.
Like, dude, you're fucking old, bro. Like, you're a fucking old man. And, like, he would tell stories about how he was like, yeah, I was a manager at McDonald's. And, like, he lived, like, a full life before joining the military. But, like, you have these guys who outrank you by 1 or 2 ranks, who are 2-3 years younger than you. And you have to listen to them. And I remember him talking to me about it, and he was like, dude, it's such a weird dynamic. Because, like, I'm a fucking grown man. Like, I have fucking existed. He's like, I get it. Like, it's only a couple years, but I have fucking been around enough and long enough to know that, like, that's a fucking weird situation, that I have some fucking 22 or 23-year-old who's telling me how to live my fucking life.
Yeah, those few years make a lot of difference. Especially, like, in any kind of workplace. Like, if you, like, let's say you're fresh out of high school, whatever, you have your first job, you get, like, a higher position. You're 20 years old and you're a trainer, and you have to train some, like, 40-year-old person that might be doing the job.
Yeah.
It's a weird dynamic.
Dude, it's super... I remember someone, when I was working at the gym, someone called me old.
Oh,
and
what?
I was only 4 years older than them. And I go, well, how old are you? And she goes, well, I'm 18. And I go, look, I'm going to tell you something right now. Because I was one of the oldest people who worked there, funny enough. Like, in terms of, like, direct management, I think I was, like... So I was 24 at the time.
Okay. Yeah.
And then... so I started working there when I was 24. And I think it was right before I turned 25. And so I think I was the third youngest manager. But in terms of the actual group of people, I was one of the, like... all of the, like, everybody that we worked with, I was one of the older people. And I was like, and I would tell these guys all the time, I'd be like, dude, the years 18 to 22 are, like, crazy formative. Like, if you don't fucking get your shit somewhat together, or you don't have, like, a path, or you don't, like, go to school, and if you, like, just peak, like, either right in high school, or, like, right after high school, like, that fucking sets you up for the rest of your fucking life. And I get it, like, we were fucking dingbats in fucking high school.
Still are.
And we still are. But it's not like, we're not like those weirdos who peaked in high school. Because you know who those guys are.
Yeah, because I'm like, I was thinking about one of them the other day.
Who? What's their first name? We won't dime drop anybody.
Joey. I remember his last name. Real stupid kid.
Was he tall, skinny white boy?
Blonde hair.
I think I know who you're talking about.
He wasn't all the way there.
I think I know who you're talking about.
He seemed kind of like he wanted to be ghetto, but like he asked one of the girls out to like one of the dances during one of the assemblies with a sunflower. I just don't remember his last name, and I don't.
Was it that?
I think that was it. I'm almost positive because I was just thinking I was like, he's so stupid he couldn't find his way out of an open box, and like.
Well, and so what's funny is. I think I remember our graduating class specifically. There was a lot of girls who got pregnant, who had already had kids, and there was a lot of fucking guys who 1,000% peaked in high school. And
that was the correct last name, by the way.
I'd be smart with this sometimes, but I couldn't imagine. Like, looking back, I couldn't imagine having peaked in high school. That was like the high point of my life. Yeah. Like, I couldn't imagine it. I honest to God can't imagine it. And I'm sure that, like, a lot of guys, because let's be real, most of the time it's guys that peak in high school. Women can kind of peak in high school, but I think once they go to college, they kind of realize kind of where they, like, rank socially, and they can, and I think females are a little bit better at adapting to that situation and either making it better or kind of staying the same. Sometimes it, life just falls apart and you fucking end up fucking blowing somebody behind a fucking dumpster. Dun, dun, dun. But for mostly the guys, I think some guys, like, that's their whole, for sure, it's their whole personality, and they peaked. They have no fucking outside accomplishments other than, well, I lettered in football, or I lettered in baseball, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Or that's when they had the most friends, and now they're just like a run of the mill guy who is just like another NPC in your hometown.
Like, there are some people who make situations like with that and actually do something great.
And like I said, but there are some guys out there who that's what they do is they're able to kind of realize that. I think at kind of early.
I'll use Josh Allen as an example. He played football in high school and did something like for a little bit after. Wasn't drafted. Made a whole fancy little email with a link to his highlights. Sent it to 1,000 colleges. Only one college responded. Wyoming. And now look at Josh Allen. In the NFL. Because he refused to peak in school.
Now, I was going to say, we're not saying that Josh Allen peaked in high school.
Nope, I'm saying you can refuse to do it and be awesome.
I think there's a lot of situations where, so I'm listening to this audiobook by David Goggins. I don't know if you know who David Goggins is.
Yeah.
But, again, for those of you who don't know, David Goggins has, this weird, just over-the-top extreme form of trying to get people to do things. And to, essentially, to motivate them to find a path in their life that they can better themselves. And, bro...
He called me an asshole for not being up at 4:30 on the dot.
Dude, it's almost kind of hard listening to that book. Because, he had, a really rough life, growing up, at least so far from what I've heard.
Yeah.
And it hasn't gotten into, the craziest of the crazy yet. But, bro, it's guys like him.
Yeah.
He had, one of the worst fucking situations I had, kind of ever heard. And now look at him. He's like these guys, but, I feel like he's kind of hit or miss. I think what he's doing is really good. But I think at the end of the day, not everybody is going to subscribe to that because not everybody can, not everybody wants to wake up at 4:30 or not everybody, whatever the case may be.
Not everybody wants to get to that same level.
But he's definitely a guy who took his situation, was like, wow, this is really fucking shitty, and made something of himself. Whereas I feel like a lot of people, and I think he kind of brings it up a lot, where he's like, I think a lot of people find the easiest way to just be comfortable with themselves. So he was telling a story where he had this thing. He was 17 or 18. It was right before he joined the Air Force. And he's like, I had this thing called the accountability mirror. He was like, it was just a mirror in the bathroom. And I would put these Post-it notes on the mirror because you got to look at yourself every day in the mirror. And he was talking about how he was like, yeah, I shouldn't fucking be like this. I'm a fucking pussy, dude. I'm this, I'm that.
Yeah.
And I'd write these things down and I would do them. And he's like, sometimes I would fucking chicken out. But, at the end of the day, that's on you. If you want to fucking let yourself fail, you're going to let yourself fail. But he goes, and so the example that he used, he's like, let's just say that you're fat. Now, a lot of times, people won't tell you. And he's like, in today's society, it's really accepted to be like that. But certain individuals, they hate themselves. But you'll look at yourself in the mirror and think to yourself, I'm a disgusting piece of shit. And you won't change anything because you want to be comfortable.
Yep.
He goes, but you can't be doing that. He's like, sometimes you really need to look at yourself and just be like, dude, you're a fat fucking piece of shit.
I have to change.
I have to fucking change, and you have to. He's like, it's gonna fucking suck, but you have to change.
Yeah. No, I don't like when people just yell at me though. I got scarred by it as a kid. I was watching TV and a black man came out yelling at me because I wasn't enrolled in college. He said, "Get off the couch. Everest is right there." And I was like, I can't go to college yet.
And so that's another thing that I've kind of so I'll listen to kind of leadership style, that's what they do. They teach leadership or how to be better leaders or whatever. Or they're motivational speakers. And we'll talk about that where leadership isn't a blanket statement. So you could be a leader where you yell at everybody and that's your style of leadership. You're a real hard ass kind of guy.
Yeah.
Some people are going to respond really well to it and they're going to fucking change and they're going to, change the course of their life or whatever the project or whatever it is. But some people are going to really respond negatively and be like, oh, you're just going to yell at me no matter what I do?
Yeah.
I'm out of here. I don't care. I'm not doing that. And so they said that you kind of have to tailor your leadership to each person. And because, like, I don't fucking like getting yelled at either.
I don't like being yelled at by anybody.
Like, it doesn't matter who it is. Like, if you fucking, like, it's just one of those things that, like, it actually doesn't even stem from the military or anything like that. It's, like, all from my parents.
Yeah, I just don't like when...
Especially, like, as an adult. Like, you know, hearing people argue, I'm out of here. Like, if you're gonna fucking argue with somebody, like, and don't get me wrong, like, I can argue with people, and I have argued with people.
Yeah, but there's a difference, like, arguing versus, like, straight up, like, a screaming match. So, I think I've talked about it on this podcast before, but, like, my dad has never yelled at me. Not once. My mom was the yeller. Mm-hmm. My dad was, like, the cold, quiet, like, the death stare. Yeah. Looking at me like Ghost Rider sentencing my soul to damnation. Uh-huh. And so I was like, oh. But, like, when people just start getting loud, I'm like, all right, this
dude, it's really annoying. I think it's, like, super cringe.
Well, it's like, I think it must be something in nature where they're trying to, like, I don't know, dominate or something, because, like...
Oh, for sure. It's definitely, like, a dominating, like, feature.
Because they'll do... And it's usually someone who's, like, what are you doing? Like, when I worked at a GameStop way back when, and someone would get loud, like, it'd be, like, someone who was shorter. It's like they would try to make themselves bigger and yell, or... Someone who didn't have as much, like, power, like, to overpower, would try to, like, look at that spike.
That wasn't too bad. It's happened a couple of times.
But that's awful. That went...
So you do it again? This fucking guy.
Yeah, make it look like a heartbeat.
But, I don't know, like, and so I've only ever encountered... I think, like, one Karen type personality out in public. It's very rare. Or, well, that's a lie. So when you and I worked at Great Wolf, it would happen a lot. Just because, you know, people are impatient. But I've never been on, like, so I've been on the receiving end of it. But, like, you kind of, like, just, like, kind of, like, learn to tune it out and then, like, fucking be pissed off about it, like, 20 minutes later.
Not my boy on the receiving.
But have you ever, like, witnessed it?
Someone else getting
yelled at? Like, if you're, like, out in public... And, like, you just, like, hear someone, like, kind of start, like, raising their voice.
Yeah, so I went to Qdoba a few years ago, and that happened because they charge extra for some queso or whatever. Uh-huh. Mind you, right there on the menu says, hey, just so you know, queso's this much extra. Yeah. And she had a stink. After they put it on there, she said, well, it's never been that way. And, like, no, it's been that way. See, it's up there. And she was having a whole fit, and she started yelling at him, and I was not having it. Mm-hmm. And I looked at her and said, shut the fuck up. And she just looked at me, and I was like, just pay the 50 fucking cents for the queso and shut the fuck up. And she got all quiet, she paid, left, and I went up there, and I was like, sorry I had to deal with that. And they were like, oh, no, thanks for it. And I was like, what? Because I promise, guys, it don't cost a damn thing to just fucking, like, support people. Just call people out on their bullshit. Because I was already having a bad day.
So I remember one of the first times, at least that I, like, in recent memory, it happened at Fuzzy's. Yeah. Some guy was, like, upset because, like, they were, like, slammed. Like, it was busy. And this guy was like, dude, I've been waiting here for, like, however long, and blah, blah, blah. And everyone just kind of stared at the guy, and it was just, like, the most random thing. And just, like, I just don't get how people, like, think that, like, having a 2-year-old tantrum as a fucking 45-year-old person is, like, acceptable.
Like, how? Like, you got a beautiful woman or something, or just anybody, and or even a beautiful man, whatever you got, and then you want to have, like, a temper tantrum like that, and if they're sitting there watching you, if they're egging you on, they're fucking weirdos too.
Dude, like, I just don't understand, like, how you don't, like, just get embarrassed. Like, I get it, like, you know, I get mad, like, really easily, but I can kind of, like, contain it within myself and be like, I'm not gonna, like, there's no point, because, like, what does it gain me?
The only place that I know that I, like, actively yell is when I'm driving. It's like
yeah, but that's because I'm by myself. Yeah. So, like, I'll do the same thing. Like, I'm in my own car, but, like, I'm not gonna, like, hunt somebody down to yell at them or whatever.
I'll talk shit with my homie in the car, like, this fucking guy. But when I'm by myself, I'm like, man, fuck. Yeah. And I just keep on going. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Nothing. I'm in my car.
And
bunch of losers in this town.
And it's not even in this town necessarily. Like, I mean, it's all over the place, obviously. But, like, I just, that's one of, like, those things that's like, dude, I just don't understand how as a grown-up, that's how you act. And, like, you think that's, like, acceptable.
Yeah.
Like, everybody around you fucking hates you now. Forever. Like, think about it. Like, if you're out with, like, a partner or something, or, like, you're out with your family, and, like, you start doing that, like, dude, your family's not going to be like, hey, man, that was cool.
No, my mom would, like, smack the crap out of me.
And so, I mean, that's one of those things that I think is just, like, the funniest thing in the world.
Hey, way to go, man. You really yelled at that 17-year-old waitress. Good on you. Like, what?
Yeah, like, do you feel proud of yourself? Like, you can go home and fucking jerk off to the fact that you just fucking berated someone for fucking 20 minutes?
You berated some high schooler working a fast food job.
Who doesn't give a fuck about you?
No! And you're like, what?
Who probably, as they were yelling, was probably fucking, like, spitting in your fucking food?
It's even worse when I see these videos of it happening, and I'm like, I feel for the employees. Like, I saw this lady yelling at this Dollar Tree guy about something because, like, he put something down a little too hard, and she was going off on him. She go, manager, fire him, and I was like, for what?
So, in one place I never expected it to ever happen was at the gym.
Oh no, who was getting blasted?
Dude, all the time.
Really?
Like, not all the time. But it happens enough to where you're like, dude, what the fuck? Like,
the roid rages?
It's not even that. Like, a lot of the time, it was, like, older people. It was, like, older people. So...
Those entitled old folk.
And so, where the gym is located in town is, you know, kind of close to, like a richer neighborhood that's here. And...
Entitled old
And, dude,
folk.
so they're just entitled. And, I remember there was this one, so... This was, like, real shortly after I had started working there.
Uh-huh.
And the gym has classes. Well, I guess one of the classes got canceled because not enough people were showing up. So they're like, well, there's no point because, like, we shouldn't, like, we don't want to pay the, like, as just a way to save money as the gym, like, you know, hey, like, we're not going to pay you. So we're just going to cancel your class. We might, you know, add a class on this day or whatever. So lady shows up, scans in, whatever. Goes back to the class, you know, just walks off. I don't think anything of it. She comes back and she goes, hey, is, you know, this class going on tonight? And I was like, let me check the schedule. And so I look and I was like, well, I don't see anything here. Let me check with the manager. He might know a little bit more. I was like, I just started here like a week ago, so I'm not 100% sure. So I was like, hey, like she was wondering about this class, like what's going on? And... he like walks back to the classroom, looks, and he goes, well, he's like, they must have just gotten rid of the class. She goes, why would they do that? And he goes, well, there could be a couple of reasons. One, mostly being that there wasn't enough people who were showing up. And she goes, well, I've shown up every week I've shown up every time this class has been on for the last however long.
Well, good on you, but that doesn't mean the rest of them.
And so she goes, well, you know, this is really fucking bullshit, like, you know, blah, 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 like, how could you guys not fucking tell anybody, like, you guys don't call people and let them know that their fucking class that they were going to go to is canceled. And he goes, ma'am, I don't know what to tell you, the class is canceled, blah, 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 like, and she goes, well, I want to fucking cancel my membership.
These people.
And so... What's extra funny about this is at that gym, you have to cancel by a certain date, otherwise you're going to get charged again.
Yeah.
And it's plainly written in your contract. And it's like very, like we, like as employees and as the gym, like we would make it very clear to people, hey, you have to fucking do this by this date or you're going to get charged again.
Yeah.
Because that's when our billing cycle is and that's when we fucking will charge you. So me being new... I was kind of overheard, like, just yelling. Because she was, like, bitching, and she walked out at one point. Took a fucking picture of, like, the fucking sign. And she was like, I'm gonna fucking tell everybody on Facebook that this fucking place, like, is, like, a real fucking, like, a real shady business. And we're just kind of standing there. And so, like, I'm filling out the cancel form. And so I'm, like, going over it with her. I was like, hey, I need you to put any reason for cancellation. Sign-in date down here at the bottom. And I said, unfortunately, because you're canceling after this date, you're going to get charged again. And she goes, the fuck I am. And I said, them's the rules. Like, I don't know.
You signed the contract.
Like, I don't know what to tell you. And she goes, if you fucking charge me, like, you'll hear from my fucking bank.
Then we can, but you have.
Well, and that's the other, and that's the other thing is that would happen a lot too, is that people would try to cancel, but they wouldn't actually cancel. because they didn't sign a fucking form being like, hey, stop charging my card.
Didn't the guy call you what?
Dude, okay. So this will be the last story before we cut it off for the episode. So this was like real shortly before I quit. So this was post. So I think it was still in 2020, but during the summer they had this program where they were like, hey, for summer student special, what we'll do is instead of making you guys pay monthly, pay this one price, and you get the whole summer for this price. Now, for whatever reason, I don't know what it was, but in that particular summer, a lot of kids were like, no, just give me the auto renewing. So they would put a card on file. Kid puts the card on file. We'd see him all the time, and whatever. He leaves, goes back to wherever the fuck it is that he came from to go back to school. I get a call, I don't know, whenever it was, from a bank, and they said, hey, we just got a call from one of our customers saying that that you guys have been trying to charge their card. So we just wanted to see like what was going on with that. And I said, well, can I ask his name? They're like, yeah, sure, it's this. I look him up, and I was like, oh yeah, it says here that his card's not going through. But I was like, but we run collections each month. And she goes, oh, okay. And so I run it real quick. And I said, yeah, it's just saying that there's that it's whatever the code was. And I was like, well, it just means it's insufficient funds. So he just doesn't have the money in his account. And she goes, okay, yeah, that's what we thought it was. So I say, oh, all right, well, you're welcome, kind of thing, blah, blah, blah. I hang up the phone. I shit you not like 2 fucking minutes later, I get a call from that same fucking kid because the bank must have called him and been like, hey, like, you owe these people money, so they are running collections on your card, which they have every right to do because you must have signed something saying that they could do that if your card doesn't go through. So he calls and just starts fucking laying into me, and I'm like, dude, like, I don't know what I want. Like, I was like, dude, just cancel. He's like, just cancel right. He's like, just cancel me right now. And I said, no, like, do it this way. Like, I'm telling you, this is how you're supposed to do it. We will postmark it to whenever the stamp that you mailed it out, we'll backdate it to that day. So if it happens to come before the month would charge, and you sent it beforehand, you won't get charged. But that's how you fucking cancel. And on top of that, because you already owe us money, you have to pay that money.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, fuck you. Like, this is some fucking bullshit. Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you, man. But, like, that's how that is. Like, those are the rules.
It's all in the contract that you signed.
So, I was like, that's what I told him. I was like, you signed a contract stating that, like, this is what was going to happen. Like, you knew about this. And he goes, I don't give a fuck. Just fucking cancel me. And I was like, you know what? I guess I will cancel you out. And he goes, are you doing it? And I go, no. I told you how to cancel, so do it that way. And then I hung up the phone. Because they were real cool about us being like, hey, like, if you're getting, like...
The abuse on
like,
the phone.
if you're getting, like, the abuse on the phone, like, you're good to hang up the phone. Like, you're not... Like, you don't have to deal with that shit.
No.
So I hang up the phone. He calls right back. And I go, this is blah, blah, blah. My name's Brandon. How can I help you? And he goes, you better fucking cancel me. And I go, no. And then I hang up the phone again. And so it got to the point where I was like, dude, if he calls back again, I'm just not going to pick up the phone. So he calls back again, and I was just like, just let it ring. But then something, I guess something, for whatever reason, I was like, I need to fucking pick up this phone. So I pick up the phone. This is blah, blah, blah. My name is Brandon. How can I help you? He goes, dude, you better fucking cancel my account right fucking now. He's like, I'm fucking recording this conversation. Cancel my fucking account, or I swear to you, like, blah, just going off. And I'm like, dude, like, no, that's not how that works. Like, blah, blah, blah.
You're recording.
I was like, you just need to fucking learn how to fucking pay your bills. And he goes, dude, fuck you. Fuck your stupid fucking gym. You stupid beta male cuck. And then he hung up the phone. And I remember I was holding the phone up, and he called me that, and I, like, slowly put the phone back down, and I was like, what the fuck was that? And the guy that I was working with, he goes, what? And I was like, that dude really just called me a fucking beta male cuck. And he goes, what? Mind you, this dude He looked like someone who was active on Reddit and Discord. Like, active.
You beta male.
Dude, it was like the picture perfect story.
This conversation.
And I remember I was just so baffled. I was like, did he really just call me that because he can't pay his fucking bills? And he has no money in his account? Like, I'm the fucking cuck?
Yeah.
I was like, are you serious?
Oh, what
I was like, that dude really just called me that. And, like, to this day, it's the most baffling thing I've ever been called. And it's, like, because at the gym, like, it was, like, there was a lot of weird, like, Karen-type stories, especially after COVID started.
Yeah.
Because then people were like, oh, they're not wearing... That's a different story for another time for next week. But, because, dude, I got a bunch, dude. I have so many fucking Karen stories from that fucking gym. It's unfucking real.
I don't have many. I just have the Black Panther story from the...
Dude, another story for next week. Thank you guys. If you stuck around this long, thanks for listening.
If you didn't, go fuck yourself.
If you didn't and you skipped this part, eat our ass.
And Riley Reid, if you're listening, I know you shit, but you can still get it.
Riley Reid, if you're listening, have him contact a manager. We'll put the email in the bio.
We'll get you on the podcast.
And talk a little bit about you and how you shit and men's mental health.
And you said the N-word that one time.
You did, that's right. Hashtag never forget. Hashtag never forget. Anyway, thanks guys for listening. Make sure to follow on Instagram, Twitter. We have a Facebook page. Make sure to subscribe, comment, like the video.
Yeah, you logged into something because I got the email because I still have it like attached to one of my Gmail accounts, and they said you've logged in from a new device.
Was it the Google email?
Yeah. And I said, huh?
Yeah. So make sure you guys do all that. Share with your friends, family. I'm trying to think. Make sure you listen on Spotify if that's where you listen. Shit like that.
YouTube, whatever else we're on. Anchor, is it? Where?
I don't know what else we're on. I kind of forgot. It's been so long. B, you got anything else to add?
Fuck the Queen.